All right, so welcome to the podcast. Today I have two friends with me, False Mind and Tiller the Killer. Do you guys want to go by those names or your real names?
Dude, just call me Tyler.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jaden.
Okay, Tyler and Jaden. The general topic of this discussion is going to be what makes Japanese culture so enticing to people around the world. And I just want to know, do you guys have any thoughts already based off that subject alone?
People like anime. So, there's that.
Yeah, that's maybe one of the big things we talk about.
Yeah.
Historically, Japan has always been one of those like closed off nations.
Yeah, borderline
and-
xenophobic to some people.
Yeah. So it's always been a place where people really know nothing about, and we got some things when they started trading. We got some tidbits of information, some first-hand accounts and stuff. But it's always been mysterious, and it's always been alluring to people who don't understand it because it's so different from our culture that you just want to understand and like experience it, because we're so set in our ways and they're so set in their ways, and mixing the two kind of creates this wonderful breaking of the tradition for us Westerners.
Yeah, but like the thing is, it kind of only goes one way for some people, because we want to get as much Japanese culture as we can, but the Japanese, a lot of them, especially the older folk, just want to have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else.
Well, actually, that's not even true. A lot of the older folk, that's right, but there's been a lot of movements in the youth culture that have been inspired by American things, such as a popular one, the greaser culture in America inspired the Yankee culture in Japan, which is, if you look at them, they're very greaser inspired. They have the leather jackets, the grease, the slicked back hair. They have all of these like motorbikes and all those inspired things. And a lot of the youth culture comes from us. In the same way that a lot of our youth culture, which is like anime and all of that stuff, which is a big part of a lot of American and like North American children's lives, comes from Japan. So it's really a symbiotic relationship where they take as much from us as we take from them.
Yeah. So speaking of that, what was your guys' like introduction to Japanese culture?
Honestly, mine was a game. A friend showed me a game, like an RPG game, JRPG. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that's what got me into, well, I guess the culture in general. And then I started watching things like anime, I read manga, started picking up manga, light novels, all sorts of stuff like that. And now I'm just a huge fan.
Yeah, for me, it was Naruto. Naruto is an anime and manga series published in
one of the big
Weekly
three.
Shonen Jump. Yeah. And I had watched Pokemon and I had played like a PS2, which are all Japanese products, but I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know it was something different, because back then they used to dub over the openings for anime and redo them for English audiences, so I had no idea. My like 5-year-old self had no idea that Pokemon was not a cartoon. It was something different.
Yeah, despite anime being more popularly dubbed in the West, oddly enough, it's the Italian openings are always considered some of the best.
Italian?
Yeah, for some reason, like they're just so like absurdly good compared to Western.
Huh.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, and for me, for my introduction of something that very clearly wasn't Western, so I was, sitting down with my brother, and we were going through our case of questionably legal PS2 games, and we find a white labeled a white CD labeled Garfield.
Oh my god, Sam,
so,
don't.
so he put in the PlayStation 2, and it was actually a game called Katamari Damacy. Yeah. So the game is basically just some little alien, and you're just rolling up the entire world and all of its objects. So like growing your ball bigger and bigger until you can literally pick up entire countries.
That's the one that you showed me, right?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was like 4 or 5.
Wow.
Yeah, and since my family or parents were into anime when they were younger, I was around 10 when I watched my first anime with my family.
Well,
That being, I believe, The Devil Was a Part-Timer.
that's a good one. I like that.
Only getting a second season. Let's go.
Yep.
I haven't watched it yet. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, for me Naruto was around probably, I don't know exactly when, but I was still going to daycare and I had known Adam at that point, my stepbrother. So I'd say around like 10, 9, 10-ish. And a lot of anime fans will say that they were bullied for anime as a kid, and I think that the only reason I'm here today as a general like manga fan, as just a fan of Japanese culture, media in general, is that my friends were the ones that got me into it. There was a group of friends that my brother and some friends from daycare, we started watching Naruto and we got really into it, and then we stopped talking about it. So I started watching other things on Netflix, and eventually I had this weird period where I just hated anime and I thought it was really stupid to watch.
So like
before
childish or
Before I got into it personally, I thought it was for kids. That's what I thought of it, like anime in general. I thought it was like children's stuff, and I'm like, okay, why are you watching that? That's mainly like my view on it until I actually got into it myself. I always looked down on it because I didn't really know too much about it.
yeah, that was a big problem for the previous generation. Is that everybody just assumed it was a kids thing, and that's why people got bullied for it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then now I just realized that it's just another form of storytelling.
Oh,
which
yeah.
More often than not, it cares more about themes than Western shows do, and even kids shows, because most of the things I read are young boy. That's the target demographic,
Yeah. So
and
is that shonen? Yeah. That,
shonen, yeah,
seinen is young adult male.
yeah, seinen, and then yeah, I read shonen, and it takes more accounting of themes, and it's written by one person mostly, and compared to like Western comics where it's you have a run of a character that is written by one guy and then another guy picks up the next run, and it's changing these narratives and changing creative visions basically. But manga and anime are able to stick to one creative vision, have strong themes because of it, and in my eyes pretty much surpass all Western comics in that aspect.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Like there's some comic runs in specific where they're really memorable and they're really iconic.
Mhm.
A few of them are like The Killing Joke from Batman, A Death in the a lot of them are Batman. A lot of the most memorable ones for me.
Well,
Death in
yeah,
the
a lot of
Family.
like comics nowadays, they're mostly just for like superheroes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some like
And-
indie ones though.
Yeah.
Most of the good ones are getting adapted into TV shows. Like recently, like Invincible and Sweet Tooth. Those are both picked up. One was picked up by Amazon. One was picked up by Netflix. And those are, one's a superhero show, but a comic, but it's not like a superhero comic. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we were talking earlier about influences. One thing that's really big in the West that's not as big in Japan is My Hero Academia, because it's very Western inspired in everything it does. And I own a lot of the volumes, and they print the logo as Shonen Jump Comics, which is like Marvel Comics. They print the logo just like that, and it's actually bigger here in the West because it's what it's inspired by than it is in Japan, and it's really interesting to look at that because they take they really do take as much from us as we do from them. You gotta remember that.
Supposedly, another big thing for My Hero Academia is that it was, at least for the start of it, it was going against like the general, like common gritty superhero stuff that was starting to take form, and instead, My Hero Academia was more like happy and like coming of age of sorts.
Yeah, but a lot of friends that I have that claim they like aren't anime fans, they've only watched My Hero Academia. Like that's a common thing that I've noticed. Like people only watch My Hero Academia for like any anime series and claim they're not an anime fan.
Yeah,
because that's like the only thing that they watched, and I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, before that, it was usually either Death Note or Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the more popular ones, anyway.
Or usually the more like Western-styled anime like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to add for that, or
I think we should transition to manga specifically.
manga?
Since you've been bringing it
domain.
up. Yep, that's why I brought you on.
So, for the teacher who doesn't know, I run a YouTube channel. Doesn't really matter what it is, and I analyze manga there. Like that's one of my passions in life is just looking at these comic books. They're graphic novels. Manga is just graphic novels. We like to differentiate them because we're weird like that as Westerners.
Yeah, so manga is Japanese graphic novels. I believe the term for Korean ones is wanhwa.
Manhwa, yeah.
Yeah, manhwa.
Yeah. And manga is, I believe, a superior brand of storytelling because it's published in magazines, thick freaking magazines, weekly, monthly, or however. Usually physically, but now it's starting to get digitally. And it is pure artwork. It's a pure spectacle. Some of them you read it and you're asking yourself, how is this possible? If I ever have to recommend someone who has never read a manga to read and understand how to feel emotion, it's Goodnight Punpun. Look that up. Read that. It'll make you cry.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It will make you bawl.
I don't think I've read a manga that has brought me to tears, but yeah. I don't know, like that's more of your strong suit. I have a few manga myself, but I don't particularly read them as often as you.
Go off, man. Talk about them.
What about manga? I mean, I when I do read them, I buy physical copies. Like I'm not one of those people who go online.
Yeah, is
And
the
read
term
online, like, I know-
webtoons or were they referred to like, was it webtoons or was it something else? Like for the online only productions.
For online, Gene, you could probably answer that, right?
So there's two common ways. There's fan translated ones where
so
they get digital
scanlations.
scans. Yeah. And fans do it, and those are kind of like semi-reliable because fans can be good at it and fans can be bad at it. But
Semi-legal.
there's also, semi-legal too. There's also now, the companies are starting to wise up, and they actually have their own services, like Viz, which is a major publishing firm in the West for manga, has their own subscription service for $2.99 a month around. You can read thousands of chapters of manga, all for free. Well, not all for free, but for just $2.99 a month, you can pay that and just read basically the best of the best manga that's out right now and that has been out for the past 20 years, basically.
Hmm.
And then there's also webtoons or manhwa, which is Korean artists and who are kind of... The reason why we differentiate them is usually because manga is published purely in black and white, and manhwa is usually always colored and published online because Korea doesn't have such a culture of story production. Whereas Japan legitimately has a whole business plan. There's everything planned out already, and the infrastructure is already set up.
And for reprints of popular manga, the first page is usually colored, and the rest is black and white.
That's
Actually-
the same with light novels, or well, for the ones that I've read in particular, like I've read the ReZero light novels. They have like a couple scenes from that volume that are colored, and it's just nice artwork overall.
As a Westerner, it's interesting to note that our color pages get uncolored. Viz uncolors our color pages.
Oh.
Yeah. And Kodansha, which is another major publishing firm, actually does include their color pages, but Viz uncolors their color pages.
And speaking of ReZero, I suppose we at some point will have to mention the term isekai.
Yeah.
As it is one of the more popular genres for both manga and anime.
Mhm.
So that sort of plays into the whole Western appeal. One of the few manga I actually own is the Saga of Tanya the Evil, or Yojo Senki. And that is actually a World War I isekai.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and the whole thing is basically someone's reincarnated into a world by God, and she now has to survive in a new version of World War I with magic, retaining her memories of her previous life.
Oh. I feel like you should explain what an isekai is.
Isekai is literally just Japanese for other world. And so it's usually some sort of fantasy where a person is taken from their original world into a new world, or it's just an anime or manga that takes place starting in a different world that's not ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's usually power fantasy, and it's usually basically a broad structure of generic isekai goes that a blank slate protagonist gets transported into another world where basically the world revolves around him and he becomes like the most powerful being in the world. He gets women, he gets his powers, he gets everything he could ever dream of. And that's because it's a self-insert character, same as a lot of Japanese companies in like video games do this as well, where they give you a blank slate protagonist. Yeah, and in more recent years, this has kind of become disdained among anime viewers because not everyone likes a blank slate protagonist. Sometimes you really want a protagonist that guides the experience, and usually the most successful isekais do have that. Like mentioned, Saga Tanya the Evil, she is a very forward protagonist who has her personality. Another one, ReZero, Subaru, the protagonist of that, has his own personality, his own interests, and is not just for the reader to self-insert into.
Yeah, it's only so entertaining to imagine yourself in a new world so many times, especially if the new world is pretty much the same as all the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing with manga is it's a pretty expensive hobby to get into. In Canada, one tankobon volume, which is the standard print format for Shonen Jump manga, which is the most popular manga magazine in the world, is $12 and a few cents.
Dude,
And
each manga that I own has been at least $20.
yeah, that's because you probably buy stuff that isn't tankobons, and like maybe Kodansha usually sells more premium books with different finishes and different printing methods. They include color pages again, as I stated earlier. Theirs usually cost around $17 to $19.
Yeah.
It can get pretty ridiculous. I personally have spent a ridiculous amount of money. I own 28 volumes of one series because I consider myself a collector, and I'm in too deep.
Yeah, so for example, Tanya, the Saga of Tanya the Evil is done by Yen Press and a single volume. So that's, I believe, the first 8 or so. The first 5 chapters is $17.
I think
Yeah,
that's
which
the
is-
same with Danganronpa. Like, I have all 4 books from that series, and I think each was, 17, yeah. But then again, it's more like it's got a few colored pages. It's like good quality, like it's a good quality book and all, you know. But yeah, online, I prefer using the physical copies, but I get why people read online, like you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because, well, I don't prefer reading it online. I love a physical volume. It's just so nice to like be able to feel the artwork for some reason.
Yeah.
Like a really good spread of artwork, and you just run your your thumb over the page, and you think to yourself, I own this. Like, this is my own little copy. But reading them online is just the most economical way to do it. You can pirate it basically and get it for free with some kind of weird scans, or you can read
That
it
being
officially.
said, we do not condone illegal piracy.
Yeah. And it's like there's some manga that the only way to read them is literally to pirate them, because it's, as a manga fan, it is insane how much manga is published in Japan. We only get a very small fraction. We only get about 5% of manga officially translated, and I'd bump that up to maybe 15% if we count fan translations of all manga that is published in Japan. There are so many small little companies or magazines that go completely unnoticed by most of the people in the West, but they make a living in Japan. They do it.
That's excluding manhwa and the Chinese equivalent. Forget what that one's called.
I mean, I that's not even a big industry in the West. It's
Yeah, it's more so the manga.
yeah. And manhwa is published like completely online.
Yeah,
As I said before, they don't have an industry for that, so they don't really. That's why it's also called Webtoons, because that's primarily the website that it's published on, because they really don't have any way to publish it physically. But, yeah.
So there's a part of the anime section that I forgot to bring up, which is Studio Ghibli. So did you guys grow up watching that? Or the studio?
I've not watched a single Ghibli movie in my life.
I don't even know what that is.
Do you remember the movie My Neighbor Totoro?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Studio Ghibli.
I didn't watch it, but yeah, I know what that is.
I'm honestly surprised.
That I didn't watch it?
No, you haven't seen any like Studio Ghibli films.
I don't know. You'll have to mention a few others. I might.
Spirited Away,
I've
Owl's
seen
Moving
that, yeah.
Castle.
Ponyo.
I've seen Spirited Away, but the other ones, no, I haven't.
Yeah, because like when you talk about like general populace, like people who aren't really deep into the anime culture, usually one of the only studios they know is Studio Ghibli, because they make the family movies. They are essentially the Japanese Disney.
Yeah, essentially, and they're run by questionable man, to say the least. The guy
Yeah.
who runs them, Hayao Miyazaki, is what can only be described as an artist, simply put. He is someone who has a burning passion, borderline burning lust for animation. There's a popular clip online of him seeing his son's first movie, walking out, saying
walking
that
out,
he's so disappointed
and he wasn't
that
ready.
he can't even sit there for the end. He was not ready to make movies, and he should not continue.
Said movie is Tales of Earthsea, if you were wondering.
And he is, excuse the language, but he is a not nice bumhole.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But he has some good concepts. He makes some good movies. And he is the director for, I think, most of the Ghibli movies.
Yeah. The reason why I mostly bring him up to begin with is because Spirited Away is actually the first ever foreign film to get Best Animated Picture at the Oscars. And
really?
The only
Wow.
reason why it was able to is because it was so popular in the West. It transcended the I say regional border,
Transcended the language barrier, because I mean you can just dub over Animad, which is very interesting. There's like a movie called Parasite recently. It's a Korean film.
The first ever foreign film to get Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah. And the thing with that is that it's not so easily dubbed over. Like, it's easy for animation because you can manipulate the mouth flaps that the characters do, but you can't do that for real life people. So it's very easy for animation, for especially like Japanese animation, to slip into our popular culture now. And it recently just did again with Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Mugen Train, which was literally the highest grossing movie in the world for a bit there. Surpassing stuff like Mortal Kombat, which was supposed to be a big blockbuster. It was the biggest movie in the world. Put simply, pure-heartedly, biggest movie in the world for a while.
Mm-hmm. Which I still haven't watched, but yeah.
Alright, so the last three things I need to go over on the list I've prepared all are related to video games.
Great.
I'm assuming all of you know what Osu is.
Oh, of course.
The game for nerds.
Yeah.
Sweaty nerds.
Yeah, so I'm assuming my teacher doesn't know what Osu is, so it is a rhythm game targeted towards the anime demographic, so people who are into Japanese culture. And despite that, it was actually made in Australia.
It was made in Australia?
Yes, Osu was made in Australia.
What? Okay, then.
Yeah, it's popular enough that it has a world championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of a bunch of countries, probably not all of them, all across the world. So you've got the big ones being, I believe, Singapore, Canada, US, probably France, Japan, and a few others. And they sort of just play the rhythm game at the best. Like, whoever is the best at it, they win the world championship, obviously. So yeah, it's popular around the entire world. It's not made by Japanese people, and it's centered around Japanese culture.
Yeah. Is that all you had to say about Osu, or?
That relates to this topic, unless you guys want to add anything.
I mean, I don't really play a lot of Osu. I used to. But, yeah, it's basically just a rhythm game.
Yeah. I suppose the rhythm games in general are really popular in both Japan and the West.
Yeah, I guess you could also mention Taiko.
Yes, Taiko is usually considered the best of the rhythm games out there. It is an arcade.
It's also featured in Osu as well as a game mode, right?
Yes, Osu Taiko. It is an arcade style rhythm game. So basically, you have a large taiko drum. So think kind of like an oversized bongo on its side,
Mhm.
and you have these two mallets, and you just have to alternate between hitting in the middle and the outer portions of the drum in order to match the notes on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A really interesting thing is sorry to go off topic a bit, but Japanese arcade culture is next level.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Like, it's like arcades, back in the arcade boom of like whenever that happened, before my time at least, on steroids.
Yeah, I believe it started with pachinko.
It is, yeah. They have like full on card games and like gotcha games. What they're called is because they gotcha to pay money.
What about
The proper it's the gotcha game because it includes a gachapon mechanic, and
Yeah.
so a gachapon is basically one of those like little those bubble gum machines where you put in like a quarter, you spin the dial, and you get some bubble gum. Instead of that, it's like a little.
Oh, those.
It's a little. It's a little hollow disc with a small toy or figure inside of it. Yeah, that's a gachapon.
Yeah. But still, it's now it's called gotcha because it got you money.
Yeah,
But
a lot of people
they
run out of
have-
money because of
they have-
gotcha.
So many card games. They have their arcade culture is next level. Their rhythm games still go strong, and
Yeah, so,
there's
like,
whole
There's
whole
some
buildings dedicated to it.
There's some rhythm game machines where after you complete the song, you can pay. I think it's probably like somewhere between 100 and 500 yen, so that's $1 to $5, and it just gives you a random card.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
some of them are like super rare.
Wow.
So
That's
like,
kind of the same thing with like
like-
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
except like,
like-
with Japan odds, it's usually like a 0.2% chance to get some of the rarest cards.
Yeah. God damn. Wow.
So based off that, you'd have to spend like $500 for the theoretical guaranteed chance.
That's a lot of money. And there's totally some people who would do that.
There's
And
definitely
that's
people who
why we call it
have.
gotcha, because they got your money, bro. Oh my god, it's insane. They got you.
Yeah.
Wild, bro.
Back on topic now. What's the next talk?
I guess. So it's a game that Tyler most definitely knows because of me now. That game is called Toho.
Oh, I knew what it was before, but I've watched you play it quite a few times.
Yeah, so Toho is a curtain fire shooting game. So basically, your character at the bottom of the screen scrolls up, and enemies appear, and you shoot them.
And it's a bullet hell.
Yes, bullet hell, meaning that there's very little room to move around, and it's very precision focused.
Yeah.
The game series started in 1996 and is still ongoing. It's been made. Most games are only made by one person. That person going by Zun. And it is one of the more popular series in Japan, given the fact that it's been running for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the main appeal of the series, though, is not the official work. It's the fact that the creator encourages what's called dojins. So basically that just means a collection of like-minded people. So they're all producing their own pieces of fan work. So they're making their own games, their own music, their own anime. Like there's 3 widely known unofficial Toho anime.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's
So
also
although
got some pretty damn good music.
Yeah. So there's roughly 150 official characters, each of which having at least one song attached to them. And now you've got a community of at least tens of thousands of people, and they're all making their own versions of that song, or all of those songs, ranging from most genres.
Yeah.
So there's
I guess-
yeah. So there's like at least 1,000 like fan games at this point.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Is that mainly what you play, or do you play like the main games?
Yeah, I play the main games. I played a few of the fan games. The issue is, it's only the fan games don't always have English translations.
Oh yeah.
It's because only one official Toho game has ever gotten an English translation. The rest of them are from the community. There is a patching software where you can basically where people submit their patches, so there are different like modifiers for the game. Those including different languages. Like you can get in English, French, German, I believe Latin even.
Wow.
So yeah, like, it is a game that is built solely around community that started from a small niche group in the West, at least for the Western portion. But due to that community, it's like community-driven focus. It slowly grew more and more to the point where it now has a collab with the second largest grossing franchise in the world.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes, that being Hello Kitty.
Oh, wait, I think I know what that is.
Yeah, so the official name of the brand is Sanrio, but Hello Kitty is the most known character from that.
Wait. Did you say Hello Kitty?
Yes, Hello Kitty is the second largest grossing franchise in the world.
What?
First is Pokemon.
I mean, Pokemon makes sense, but Hello Kitty? What?
Yeah, every little girl wants a Hello Kitty backpack at least once in their life.
It's more than just the little girls.
I know. No, I'm just saying,
It's
that's
Sam as well.
that's a
No.
large base of people to market to.
Yeah,
Young female. Boom. There's half the
every
population right
female,
there.
pretty much.
Oh yeah, no, the marketing is just aimed directly, like, marketed towards younger females, younger girls. So, boom, you get like 3 billion people right there.
Yeah.
Easy
Yeah.
win.
So the last one is arguably more controversial, but probably not among us. And that is the concept of Japanese education games. So basically the games are like, play this game and you can learn Japanese.
Oh yeah, you recommended me one of those like a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah. So
Some
basically,
mobile game.
it's just like a study guide, basically, but it's in a visual novel format.
Yeah. What was the
Those are-
game called that you said? I have it on my phone. Actually.
Yeah, it's called Kawaii Nihongo, which translates to cute Japanese.
I played like a few lessons. I didn't get very far, but yeah, I did play through a few.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely
do get the gist of
probably one of the more effective ones, since it's literally just a study guide.
Yeah.
Like, it's something you want to do accompanying general study.
Yeah, all of those are kind of really scams because, I mean,
They're just
best
like
way.
ad pools.
Yeah, there's like, there's always this like magical way to just improve your skills in a language. With like, some people recommend like watching TV shows or like listening to whatever and whatever, but
That can be effective to some extent.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you're
the best-
basically learning the same way a baby learns, except it's not as effective because you already know a language.
Yeah.
yeah, the best way, honestly, to learn Japanese is to basically get a course from a Japanese person, not just like a language dealer.
Yeah.
You're oh my god.
I believe the
I
most
like how you put that
commonly
language to
recommended is to use some form of like study guide or course that has you talking from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's main issue with anime is that Japanese people don't talk like people talk in anime.
Yeah, it's like if every English show was like, What are you doing? No, you can't do that. And then
Nani?
Japanese people learn to speak English like, what are you doing? No, that is not how you do that. That is not proper form. You know.
Yeah, and I guess another issue with learning Japanese is most people don't realize that the standard textbook teaches you how to speak it wrong.
Oh.
Because, for example, in English, there's two requirements for a sentence to be valid. That being the subject and the event. So subject is basically me, you, so Tyler, and it. So what the thing is structured around, and the event is like the verb. So what's going on? In Japanese, you don't need a subject. The subject is usually interpreted through context. So instead of saying, I'm going to the store, I would just say going to the store. Most textbooks teach you to say it as if you still include the subject. So that's why it's usually considered important to learn it through talking with people who already know it.
Yeah. And not just some like, hey, this owl is gonna teach you 50 languages. Which one do you want? That's a language deal. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So I've gone over my list of things, and it's been 40 minutes. So if you guys want to continue, we can, or we can just end it here.
That's up to you. I mean, if you want to, Sam, I know you're a rhythm game fan, especially for like Japanese games. So if you want, you could talk about music. I feel like that'd be a good one to cover.
Yeah, I suppose since most music I listen to at this point is in Japanese as well.
Mhm.
That's mostly thanks to Toho.
Oh, understandable.
Yeah, so
But yeah, a lot of Japanese music is just really damn good.
yeah, I find the way they express the emotion is a lot more appealing.
Hmm.
Let's get this out of the way. We can't understand it. It's all sounds. It's all a vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the energy that the artists give off. I have a playlist on Spotify that's like,
Unless you go on
you know,
YouTube
for-
and there's like the unofficial English translation by
Oh,
random
no,
YouTuber
no.
324.
Nah. Get out of there with those. No. You listen to it, official Japanese, like all good little freaking otakus do.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Right?
if you listen
you-
to an English translation of a Japanese song, I'm not very happy with you. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
It's one of those things where like you don't know what's being said. They could be talking about some really weird stuff, but they are saying it in a way that is like such a good
sounds good.
sounds.
It
Just-
sounds good, and that's what's like. I didn't say that. that's what's great about it.
Yeah, personally, like I can only listen to music that I have like a connection to. I can't really pick up a Japanese song and just kind of be like, "Yep, I'm gonna listen to this and put this on my playlist now." Usually, I get them from like anime openings where I'm like, "I love
yeah.
this anime. I love these," and it makes me think of this specific thing. So whenever I listen to it, I'm like, "Ooh, I love that." Yeah.
Because usually all you got to go off is the possibly English title for the song. Because I know YouTube Music will use an English title if it exists. And the few words you've picked up watching anime for the past decade.
Which is zero.
Yeah.
English
yeah.
manga. Yeah.
So if we're talking about music, we have to at least mention Vocaloid.
Oh, of course.
So a Vocaloid is essentially a voice that's been turned into a table of sounds. So Japanese language is, instead of letters, it's syllables. So no matter what, you can always just string all the syllables together and it will still sound proper. Unlike English, where you have all those weird exceptions. And thanks to that, people have created maps of their voice and they basically sell it as Vocaloids. So they take those sound maps, they take each of the individual syllables, and they string them together to make lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
The most well known being Hatsune Miku.
Yeah.
Like, she is popular to the point where they have like made hologram technology for her, so that she can be on stage in like
there's
30-foot tall
for her performances.
Yeah, she's like a 30-foot tall hologram and like an audience of like in the thousands.
Oh yeah. All with glow sticks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's how a Vocaloid concert goes. Well, with Miku anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lesser known form referred to as Utao, which is basically non-professional Vocaloid. So that's like if I just try to make one, it would be considered an Utao. I'm not reading out the 46 hiragana.
Start rapping. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Did you have anything to add for that, or? No. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about, or?
Well, we are going to have to essentially give some sort of like answer to the question from the start, which is what makes Japanese culture so enticing.
Well, what do you guys think?
I think the main thing is it's sort of like it's how everyone comes together and experiences it together. Like how, like for Toho, they all make their own like fan work and stuff. It is the community itself is what drives the anime fan community.
Yeah, it really is community in the end, because it's always been against the norm to really like the stuff, you know? It's still kind of against the norm, because some people will look at you funny if you say I'm an anime fan, or, you know, I read manga or whatever.
Yeah, it's either they look at you funny, or they say, yeah, same, and the kids on the other side of the room look at both of you funny.
Yeah, in the end, some of the coolest people I've met are like from the past year, and I've met them through discussing anime and manga, which can't be understated. Some of my favorite people that I know. It's just something to enjoy. It's something to immerse yourself in that's different and kind of lets you stop thinking about life, because it just lets you get away from stern culture and like hard sell capitalism and, you know, all the gun violence and stuff.
I don't think you're quite escaping from capitalism, but
hard
the other ones,
capitalism. No, you're getting away from capitalism being beaten into you from birth. Yeah, that's definitely not something that Japanese people experience.
Yeah, just ignore the whole like 16-hour work shifts, or I guess more so like 14.
That's not capitalism. That's not due to capitalism. That's due to the Japanese work culture.
It's the work culture, but it still helps capitalism.
Yeah.
So despite everything positive we've been talking about, there is definitely some negatives.
Oh yeah,
because there's negatives to everything. Yeah, so this has been going on for 50 minutes, so I suppose we should probably wrap this up now.
Yeah. It's a good length for a nice.
Yeah.
You really do that to your teacher, though.
Yeah, I was probably aiming more for 20 to 30 minutes, but I think our first couple of tangents
is normally like at least an hour long.
Yeah, but like school podcast.
Well, I did one that was almost an hour and a half. for my English class, so he didn't mind. In fact, he said it was my best work, my best piece of work. So
Well, I was coming off of last year where we were told to target the 20-minute mark.
oh, you were told. Okay, well,
That was last year. This is like a completely different thing.
I mean, it's a podcast.
Yeah, like, oh, we should still wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, any last thoughts?
I don't really have any. What about you, Jaden?
Not really. I think I've said my due
Yeah.
diligence.
Okay. So, thanks for watching to whoever watches this. And
Share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.